it's Jeffrey with Real Nifty Vintage, and today's video is 5 things that I will not buy to resell. So this is going to be my comprehensive video, so to speak, of the 5 things that I just ignore. I don't even bother. I find that there's other things that I can focus on, and if you're interested in the other things that I'm going to focus on, that's going to be a separate video, so you can find out what I do buy, the 5 things that I do buy. But these 5 I don't buy. So we're going to start out with item number 1, and that is tools. So tools I do not buy and I will not buy. Thing about tools is I don't understand them at all. I don't understand whenever they're holding up a rake or a shovel at an auction what the point is. I don't know what somebody's going to do with it. Are they going to go dig a hole, rake their leaves, hang it on the wall as decoration? I doubt it. So I don't understand what the fascination is with tools. And I'm going to elaborate and even say more so outdoorsy things. So let's say tools, drills, screwdrivers, wrenches. I don't even bother. I don't understand the market. I have no interest in that market. I know nothing about them. I know there is like Craftsman and Makita. What am I going to do with them? So I will say though, in relation to tools, if I find a really interesting thing that I'm like, oh, you know, that can be hung on a wall and somebody's going to want to use that for their country themed thing, then I'll do it. So I pick up old wood ladders. I've picked up like wooden planes, like the older metal planes that you'd use to plane a door or something similar. I have picked up hammers. Why? Well, they were almost free and there was nothing else going on at that auction or sale or whatever. So I will pick up certain things if they're next to $0 or, you know, but there are certain things, like I said, that can be perfectly useful as a design element. So with these remaining items and all of the items I'm going to mention, they're on the list because I don't understand them as a design aspect or something that you can really use in the home or to create an ambience at all. You know, so that's the first item, tools. Next on the list is clothes. So now this one might be the most shocking one of all because it's like every reseller sells clothes. And I completely understand why. There's good money in it if you know what you're doing, but I have no clue what I'm doing and I don't care hardly at all about fashion. So when it comes to buying a t-shirt or a cool jacket or a pair of pants, I have no idea what I'm looking for, even for myself half the time. So to be able to know what to buy for others, I don't have it in me. That said, I do buy hats like ball caps, or I bought scarves before if they're older. And I understand usually when I'm buying those who the buyer's going to be, and I can kind of get in their head of what they're looking for. So I've bought hats with like a team on it, and it's a vintage team, one that they don't make this hat anymore. And I could probably extend that to a t-shirt and say, well, here's a vintage t-shirt by this sports team. But then you have, you know, does it have any stains? Does it have any holes? And you got to look this whole thing over. And what if you missed it? Now a ball cap, I can look at real quickly and say, yep, it's clean, no holes. It's not stretched. It's the size is what it says. T-shirts and things like that, they can really be easily misshapen, and if it doesn't fit, there's a return, you know, all of that. I don't even have the time of day for it. So that is something I do not focus on. I do know that I might be handicapping myself by not focusing on that, but in my book, I have other things that I buy, and if I just focus on those, I'll do all right. And I'll expand the knowledge that I have in those categories and not really spread myself all over the place. And so for clothing, I'm out. I don't buy it. The next thing on the list, I don't buy, and you could probably understand why. It's coins. I do not buy and resell coins. And that is probably because it's a whole collector market. To buy and resell coins, you have to know what you're doing. You know, you don't just go in willy-nilly and buy a $20 coin and say, oh, I'm going to resell this now because it looks cool. It's not how it works. And I'm going to say that with reselling and what I do, a lot of what I buy is because I think it's cool. And I can see the buyer using it, and I can know why they're going to use it, because this certain style is in, or they want to look back and be nostalgic on a different time or era. So I can purchase like that. But with a coin, what's the melt value? How old is it? Is it is there any defects? Sometimes there's a defect that makes it even more rare. I don't care enough about coins. It's not something that I really find joy in, and so I don't focus on it. And I'll also say that whenever I'm at these auctions or sales, there is a good pool of people that buy coins, and they're all huddled around the coin case, and they know what they're doing. They're doing their thing, and I'm over usually in another ring of the auction, because I do source at auctions, and they'll have multiple rings going where I just can't be in two places at once. Now, if I was forced to only look at the one thing, that's a lie. Actually, I would just go sit in the corner and eat a hot dog or something. So I have like I said, absolutely no, I don't want to deal with coins at all. So that is on the list for that reason. Next thing on the list is jewelry. Very similar to coins, I think, because of like the metal and is it silver? But with jewelry, I haven't got into it because it's just simply I don't care enough about it. And there is also good money in jewelry. You can buy costume jewelry and do really well with it, but it goes along with style, personal style, and I kind of have issue in my own head with what is personally relevant. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't understand what makes a good piece of jewelry. Now, I will say I do find that certain costume jewelry from the 40s, 50s, that's really cool, and I can completely get behind like a really nice lucite brooch or something, or I can really understand that. But there's already, again with the coins, already people out there that almost exclusively, or they really know that business in and out, and they buy and resell because they already have a joy and a fascination with jewelry. So it's much easier for them, just like it's very easy for me stylistically to be buying things from even 70s and 80s. Now, a lot of you were probably around then, but I can look at it and say, this is something that my generation or thereabout are looking for. They're wanting this style. They're looking back. They're yearning for this style because they remember it. Or this is something that, So for those reasons, I can completely understand certain things, but jewelry is one of those that, yeah, there is some overlap to style and era and all of that, but I just personally don't want to go down that. I don't want to be on that train. I'm not going to arrive at that station and board that train. So that is on the list for that reason. The next thing on the list, and actually, are we done? Is this the last thing on the list? Drum roll, please. All right, the last thing on the list is books. This may be completely shocking to you, but I'm just not interested in books. I may be maybe one of the only people that's willing to say it. I'm sure there's people out there that just don't like to read. I'm one of them. I really don't like to read unless it's a reference book, which I have a pile of here on my table because I find value in knowledge. And now when it comes to reading a book for entertainment purposes, I get bored so easily. I've tried multiple times to read a fiction book or something. And if I was going to read a book, it would probably be fiction. It would be what I like to watch on TV. I like to watch sitcoms and some dramas sometimes, and lots of old shows for their feel-good vibes. But a book, I get very bored. I get burnt out. 2 chapters in, 3 chapters in, I could be like, this is pretty good. But by the time, I make a decision, I'm like, I don't want to invest any more time in this book. I can see where it's going. I'm sure they'll all work out. These characters will work themselves out in the end. It's all good. With a movie, I know that I'm going to have 2 hours invested. I'll have the whole story arc figured out, and I'm good to go. And I've got it in the pocket. I'm visual. I like seeing it. So for that, That's one of the reasons I don't buy books. Now, so I'm just saying, I'm setting all that up because there are sellers of books and they buy and sell books. Now, I think the main reason, yes, there's money in it, but the main reason is because they thoroughly enjoy books. They like the whole aspect. They like the smell and the feel and the texture and the whole thing. I don't. I do like all of those other things, smell, texture, all that, but it's not for me. So the only time I do buy books to resell is if they're in an auction or a estate sale or rummage sale and they're really cool and old and they have a neat cover art or the spine is cool and interesting. And why am I buying them? Well, it's because I think they'll look cool on a coffee table. Yeah, it's very shallow, but that's how I think. I'm more design focused than anything, and the content of the book is really irrelevant. And I do appreciate the age of books if they're able to, be around and be over 100 years old. I'm like, that's cool. But to buy and sell books and books and books and hundreds of books, I do not want to have it. I don't want to deal with it. They're heavy. That's one of the huge things. They're heavy. They're bulky. A lot of them go for a couple dollars a piece, if anything. Some don't go for hardly anything. So, I'm not going to sit there and list books all day for $2 a piece if they sell, when they sell. Not for me. I was actually in line one time at a rummage sale, and this guy behind me was showing somebody else about all the books they just purchased from a sale, and he showed the picture, and I got a glance. His whole living room was full of books. Stacks of books. Now, you have to love books to do that to your living room. Just like I have knickknacks and crap all over the place. I hate clutter. I really do. I don't like stuff. I'm a minimalist. I don't like many things. Actually, whenever I was younger, I used to throw things away a lot. I would have a room full of stuff. I'd go buy things, go yard sailing, get little figurines. After a while, I'd get tired of them, maybe. Let's just say tired of them. Want to refresh, get rid of everything, start over. So I would just chuck things in the trash. Luckily now, instead of throwing them away, I sell them. So that's sort of why I'm kind of in this business. I love buying things. I love experiencing the items for a short while and then seeing them go away. So for what it's worth, that is the 5 things that I do not buy and why I do not buy them. But if you're interested in the 5 things that I do buy, that'll be a separate video. I'll link it here and you can take a look at that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.